So I strayed into part of the palette which gave me a slightly redder mix there. That was an accident, but again, I don't mind that change of colour, so we'll keep going with that. But then I will switch back to something a little more greenish as I make my way over to the left. Now, the shadows themselves, the cast shadows, they are in reality much darker, but for the moment I think I'm content to leave things like that. So the next thing I want to do is block in the cattle. Now, looking at the colour of these beautiful animals, there are some very, very dark shadows, and I want to go really dark with the shadows, and with the colours that I had on my palette so far, there's no way I'm going to be able to go dark enough. So what I've done is add some cadmium red, burnt umber and ultramarine blue. So my next stage is I'm going to go work along each animal, but I'm just going to add what I see to be the darkest shadows. So if I take some of the ultramarine blue and some of the burnt umber, and this time you can see I'm still using the same brush, but I'm hardly using any water. This paint is pretty much just straight out of the tube. Yeah, my brush is a little damp. Okay, so that's mixed me up a nice dark colour. So let's start with the steer on the left. So this ear is very, very dark. So I'm reasonably happy with the shape of that ear. So I'm going to begin by blocking that in fairly carefully, and if my underlying drawing shows through, then that's absolutely fine with me. There's a bit of dark shadow there. The right hand side of the head, there's a line of dark shadow coming down there, and then the left ear is not entirely in dark shadow, but that right hand side of it is. And there's also a bit on the end of the ear. And then the left side of the top of the head here is pretty dark. And then there's some shadow around the eye and on the left side of the face. Underneath the mouth and the front of the chest is pretty darn dark as well. So let's put that in. And the shadow on the right hand side of the head does kind of continue in a little bit there, so we'll put that in. There's also some shadow here. I've kind of got myself a little bit lost there, but so that the shape of that dark shadow isn't quite right. I think I'll extend it there. This part of the animal is very dark too. And then by the time we get down to the legs, they're almost completely immersed in shadow, except for a little patch of highlight on the left hand leg. On the underside of the belly, it's very dark as well. And then it's very dark up here. Just curving my brush stroke slightly so that I'm starting to create a sense of that rounded torso. And then a little bit higher up, things are getting a bit lighter, so I'm just going to kind of dry brush in that area for